Day, everybody. I'm so excited to be able to join two of our former students today who have started a beautiful company called FarmTrue, and they are producing some of the most wonderful herbal products for body, for skincare, for the mind, so many beautiful products, and I'm excited to learn more about what they're doing. So Kim and Lynn, welcome. I'm so happy that we get to share this time together. And I was hoping that you could begin by sharing just a little bit about your story. And I'm particularly interested about how the two of you came together to collaborate.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for meeting with us today. This is truly an honor, and it's so exciting to see you again and just reminisce about some really wonderful foundational memories for our journey. So, yeah.
So, how did we meet?
So we both came to Ayurveda kind of differently. So my daughter, she's very young and she was sick and came over a really bad illness and became really depleted and had to take her to the hospital a couple times a week for quite a long period of time. And she had developed some pretty bad anxiety, OCD type symptoms from this depleting illness that she had. And it was really hard to not be able to get any help with that. A lot of the answers out there where it just happens, OCD and anxiety, it's just something they don't have a lot of answers to. And I was in the waiting room one day and I actually, for the first time, had heard the word Ayurveda. Dr. Oz was talking to Oprah and I was just like, this is crazy. And he was talking about ghee and how it helped calm the mind. And I thought, this is crazy. This is just food. How could that happen? And so I was so desperate at the time that on the way home that day, I bought my first jar of ghee and it was terrible. It tasted awful. And, but I was determined to start to try and get it into her. And long story short, she really started to respond. And I didn't know why. I didn't know the science behind it, but I knew I needed to know more. And I was lucky enough to live in an area where we had somebody that was a master teacher at CCA, and she had workshops. And I signed up for one, and that is where I met Lynn for the first time.
That was about 10 years ago, I think, 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And at that time in my life, I was in the process of making a lot of changes just on my own personal wellness path, and was studying in yoga teacher training. And Kim, we had a background in nutrition. Mm-hmm. And I was just wanting to dive deeper into taking care of myself better. Looking back now, knowing what I know now and looking back, there were a lot of vata imbalances, and I knew something had to change. So when I started learning about Ayurveda through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, it was like a John Douillard segment on there. I just thought it makes so much sense. This is so common sense. And I found the workshop through a friend and attended, and that's when I met Kim. And it was just, everything opened up. And I think for both of us, we were like, we want more. This is just the start.
Yeah. Within just a few weeks, we started to really implement some of the wisdom we were learning. And I was definitely seeing an improvement in my daughter's health, but was even more so just curious. I wanted a deeper knowledge, and so did Lynn. And Lynn had actually made the decision to study at CCA and said, I'm going to do this. You want to do this together? This could be really great. We could have, this study relationship together. And everything in me said I shouldn't do this. I was so overwhelmed in life. I had a sick child at home, and I was homeschooling because she wasn't able to go back to school. But I just felt like we had to do this, and we did. And it was the beginning of a really wonderful relationship, but also the beginning of an incredible education, and a whole new world opened up to us, understanding and learning Ayurveda.
And when you were,
go ahead.
When you were students at school, did you have the idea to start FarmTrue, or did that come about after school?
We were just so immersed in the teaching, in the learning of it, and sharing our own experiences for that year. And then
we didn't have any desire to start a business when we were studying. We were just really in it and just mind-blowing, like every day, like, oh my goodness, this makes so much sense. And just really applying it to our daily lives and to our family as well, and sharing it. and we kind of brought it back to our own nutrition practices.
Right.
And yeah.
So it influenced, and that was the thing. I mean, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, like where we live, this pocket of the world is Ayurveda's, nobody knew about it, right? It's not like Grass Valley, it's different. So we just thought we wanted to share this, but we didn't really know how we would do that. And then when we traveled to California for our immersion week there, we grew closer over the years through being on this path. And we were just like, okay, like now what, right? Like we want to continue to study. It's a lifelong study, but what else can we do to incorporate this and share it in a way? So
we both looked at each other on our last night there and we said, we have to figure out a way to share this. And we had each other, which was really fantastic, but we could really see how hard it was for other people when we were talking with other students. And that intensive week we were in California, how hard it was for some students that were feeling alone, that, you know, they didn't have that person on that journey with, or other people that were on the path of trying to understand Ayurveda. And so we knew we wanted to share it. And we wanted to make it really easy and accessible for people. And that night, and we had an Airbnb when we were out in Grass Valley, we said, we really feel like it needs to come through Ghee, because we both believed that Ghee was one of the most powerful tools and unspoken heroes at the time, 10 years ago. You couldn't really go to a grocery store, a regular grocery store, and just buy a jar of Ghee back then. You can now, but we said, well, maybe we should just start to make some. And it was really important to us to find a local farm and connect people to the source, and understanding the value behind the cow and how sacred that is. And we just started there.
And we thought it would be a really gentle way to introduce Ayurveda. Like, how do you start talking about it to people? We're like, well, it's food. So we could start in farmers markets and just talk about, the benefits of a cooking oil, but then the health benefits too. And what we quickly learned, we always say, is people wanted to know more. They didn't just want to know they wanted to know what the benefits were. They wanted to know what Ayurveda was. And you start giving them bits and pieces, and they have the same reaction as we did. It makes so much sense. So,
yeah.
Quality food is so important to take into your body. And you're right, Ghee is a wonderful place to start. It has so many benefits. It supports digestion. It's nourishing to your skin. It's nourishing to your entire body. So I think that was a great choice to start with a high quality Ghee and to bring that out to the market. And you guys have also made some really creative Ghee products, like the golden milk latte. Can you tell me about that? I've tried it. I think it's absolutely delicious. I love to take a teaspoon of that and put it in hot water, or put it into some oat milk, and it's just it's yummy. What can I say? Can you?
It is one of the customer favorites. Yeah, it's really, it's a great product. A lot of the products every product that we've made here has come from that base knowledge of just taking in, the qualities. And so we knew, especially over here in New England, everybody's always grabbing for a hot cup of something. And a lot of times it's not a healthy cup of something. And so we make what we want in our hands as well, or on our bodies, or in our mouths. And so we knew we wanted to have an immune boosting, kind of rejuvenating tonic, and introduce that to our customer base in a way that was really easy, because golden milk can be a lot of different ingredients, turmeric and peppers and all kinds of things that you can put in there. And then you have to add your cream or whatever. Ghee, being such an incredible carrier oil, we use as the base in this to add in a big handful of herbs and spices that are all immune boosting and rejuvenating, great for digestion. And so they carry those herbs deeper into the digestive system. And we also use Chyavanprash, which, as you know, is Amalaki based. And so it's got that really nice immune boosting and rejuvenating component to it. And a little bit of that honey, the sweetness that makes it just so delicious. So it really came together really quickly because of the knowledge we had through the herbalism and that we've taken at CCA. It came together in the kitchen very quickly, going off of what we knew we wanted it to do in the body. And it came together really beautifully. And it is one of our customer favorites, one of our best-selling products, and a great alternative to coffee or anything that, you're looking to give you a boost. This really does give you a boost in a different way.
And we definitely, I just want to say too, we felt very empowered. We always talk about that, like after going out to California and the year of study, to go out there and start sharing what we learned. I think you definitely made us feel like, okay, you guys are equipped with knowledge that can be really helpful. So I don't know, that just felt good.
Yeah. I think when really where you're coming from is like when we came back, I think a lot of people will go on a path of study and then they can keep going and never feel like they have what they need to get it out into the world or to live out their dharma. And specifically, I remember in one of the classes, you spoke to us and said, you all have what you need. You have what you need to do what you need to do, whatever that may be. And we really leaned into that. And so when we get in the kitchen and we start to develop a new product, we look at the knowledge that we have and we go back to the basics of what we want to accomplish with this product, and we keep it simple with Ayurvedic knowledge. Yeah.
Well, I think you've really come up with a very unique product there. And most people, when they have golden milk, they think just of the turmeric and maybe a little bit of ginger, but your golden milk is really gold. It is something that is so rejuvenative. And I think that's really unique of the golden milk products that are out there. And adding Chyawanprash into that, Chyawanprash being such a legendary elixir, being able to get some of the Chyawanprash along with these chai spices and turmeric, it's really, really a fabulous idea and a great product. Another product that I really enjoyed trying and learning about is your oil pulling product. I actually have it right over here, and it's this beautiful product. Most of the time when people swish and oil pull, they use just some plain oil. They'll use some sesame oil or some coconut oil, which is great to do. It's wonderful just to use any oil. But when I had the experience of using your oil, it was like a refresher for my mouth. It made the experience very, very pleasant. Can you talk about what gave you the idea to put together such a pleasant oil pulling product?
That mint.
Yeah. Well, I think too, like going back from the very beginning where the ghee was gold for us, we recognized that ghee had so many benefits, and the ghee was an incredible superior carrier oil for herbs. And we played around with that, and we definitely recognized by adding ghee with some herbs and the sesame oil with some nice fresh peppermint, it was the ultimate experience for oil pulling. We ourselves had oil pulled with just sesame oil or coconut oil, and there was a little bit about the experience. It was a little difficult in the beginning. It didn't feel refreshing. It didn't feel really clean in a way. And so it was just, again, we look at the products that we have access to out there, and our minds naturally go to, well, what do we want? How could we make this better with the knowledge that we have? And we use ghee in that product, and I think it makes a huge difference between other pulling oils. But I think that's the difference in almost everything that we make. Almost everything we have it has some component of ghee in it, and it just elevates it. It takes it to a new level and makes it more effective.
And we definitely saw the need. Kim and I would do workshops, and we would talk about all the Ayurvedic routines, your morning routines. And then the students would say, okay, now where do I get pulling oil? Or, where do I get nausea oil? And we were like, wow, yeah, I don't know. There was maybe one or two sources that we knew of. So we saw that there was a need of not just the education, but actually giving them the physical tools to use.
And I like that it has neem in it as well. And neem has such a wonderful benefit as an antimicrobial as you're swishing it through the teeth. So it's really going to help with gingivitis. It's really going to help with just gum disease in general. Being able to prevent that over time is so important, especially as people age. So for people who are oil pulling early on, to be able to preserve the health of their teeth. I think that is so very, very important.
Absolutely.
Do you have any new products that are going to be coming out soon?
Oh, well, we do have quite a few products. And so we're trying right now, I think as a company, trying to make sure that we put a little more education behind each one, just like you said, with the neem behind the oil pulling. There's so much more that that we need to do, we feel like, to help educate our consumers, and like the benefits of how to use a product, when to use a product. So that is our focus this year, is a little more on education. And we're really hoping to be able to start opening our space. COVID has definitely put a damper on that the last 18 months. And so education is a big initiative for us this year. And I think that we have talked about expanding that, that golden milk latte line with maybe a few other teas that really help fill that need when people are grabbing for something to help them feel good. And, our facial care line is something that people have really started to hone in on and ask for more, especially with different skin types. So people want a little more customization with between Vata, Pitta, and Kapha and the facial care line. So that's something we've talked about as well.
My wife really likes the Nourish stick that you guys put together for dry lint. She thinks that's just the best.
That is probably one of the fastest growing products. We have definitely we added another scent to that, 2 more actually, an unscented one, because we had some customers really swear by it with diaper rash and things for their babies, or eczema. So we took essential oils out of that completely. So we have a non-scented one, and a citrus one, and a peppermint one. And that one is definitely a go-to for everyone. Adds it on to their cart when they buy it, and it's really a nice product. Again, the ghee makes an incredible difference in that product. So it's we can't live without that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Kim and Lynn, it's been a joy to be able to spend this time with you and to be able to learn about the incredible work that you guys have been doing since you've graduated. You've really put together a unique company, and I look forward to watching you guys grow and to watching your company grow. And I know that as you and your company both grow, society is going to benefit so much. And that's what it's really about, is supporting society to find balance, to find harmony, to find health again. And I just really appreciate the efforts that you guys are doing, contributing to the well-being of society. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That means so much to us. We appreciate the opportunity that you've given us by creating that school, a wonderful education. Lynn and I, when we decided to study Ayurveda, we did actually start to look at all of our options out there, and we talked to a lot of people, and we're so thrilled with our decision and the quality of education that we've gotten with CCA throughout the years. We feel really supported and equipped to make decisions and still live our practice and grow on our Ayurvedic path. Right. And we've actually come across quite a few people that have not, I don't think have had the wonderful experience that we've had at CCA, and they've maybe studied somewhere else. And we've been able to see the difference in the depth of learning that we received and understanding. Yeah.
And we'll also, when we do workshops either at our facility or in yoga teacher trainings. And a lot of times we get the comments that you talk about Ayurveda a lot differently than other people. Like, it's explained a lot more clear. And we always say those were our teachers at CCA, that the way they made it so accessible and easily integrated into our life.
Yeah. So we really appreciate that. We have some questions for you too. So could you give us do you have a second to give us a little history on what it was that made you want to start CCA and a school for people?
Sure. When I first started studying Ayurvedic medicine, I couldn't believe that there was no place for people to study Ayurveda in the United States, that the only place you could study Ayurveda seriously was in India. And here there were a group of practitioners who had been studying with teachers from India, but there were no schools of Ayurveda here in the United States. There was no profession for Ayurveda here in the United States. And that was mind-boggling to me. I just couldn't believe it because it was such a profound science and with so much depth, and it was so important. And it was a mystery to me that there was not an entire profession that was here. And I would talk to my teachers, Dr. David Frawley, Dr. Subhash Ranade, and other teachers of mine over time, and we would talk about that, and they'd say, well, you know, it's really been contained in India. There's a history of it even being repressed in India, and it was really just starting to blossom again in India. And I studied it, and I thought, this is the most incredible system of medicine that I had ever studied. And I had studied Chinese medicine, herbalism, Western herbalism, chiropractic, Chinese medicine. And when I started studying Ayurvedic medicine, everything began to make sense. And again, I just couldn't believe there was no profession. And I talked to my teachers about it, and they were like, yeah, maybe one day there will be. And then I was sitting in meditation one afternoon. I was just sitting deep in meditation, and I had a vision. And the vision was to build a profession for Ayurveda here in the United States. And it was more than a school. It was to build a profession. This was one of those more mystical moments that you have in your life where you have, for lack of a better word, a vision from God. And for me, my experience of that in meditation at that moment was two hands like this with a lotus flower in the center coming toward me. And with the lotus flower and the two hands coming toward me was a message. And the message was that my dharma was to do that work, to build the infrastructure. And that was to begin. That was to begin with building a college. And then my first group of graduates started the California Association of Ayurvedic Medicine. And then we started the National Ayurvedic Medical Association, and pretty much every other association that's present in the country. It's part of the infrastructure,
right?
To build the whole profession so that hopefully we can transform the health and the well-being of society. And that's really our purpose, you know.
Yeah.
When I first began, I thought of it as a revolution of consciousness, a new way of seeing ourselves and our relationship to the world around us. And that's been the focus of my work ever since.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And I think that translates into your students as well, because I think, I can't obviously speak for everybody, but I think in just the small group we were a part of, everyone felt that same feeling of it's this opportunity now to go out and share the wisdom of Ayurveda. And we've always kept our mission so simple. Just that's what it is, to share the wisdom of Ayurveda. And it sounds like that's simply your wisdom as well. Your mission as well, you know, is to share it and create this community of practitioners so that it changes the world. And it's a beautiful thing. It's like, I don't know if you ever get to reflect too much on how many lives you personally have touched by starting that school. Yeah. It's got to be just so many. Yeah.
You know, when I first started, I was practicing all the time, and I had a very full practice. I had a 6-month waiting list of patients to come in and see me. And I was frustrated that there were no other practitioners of Ayurvedic medicine. And then when I started the school, which was for there to be more practitioners of Ayurvedic medicine, after several years, I had to confront the moment of realizing that I could either dedicate my life to training practitioners who would go out and touch the lives of patients, or continue to treat my patients. And it was really hard actually to let go of full-time practice. Yeah. Really hard to let go of spending my full day with that intimacy with patients. But I realized that I could touch more lives. As you were pointing out, I could touch more lives by training the practitioners of the future. And so I began to dedicate myself to that, and found that to be, even for me, more deeply rewarding, because the intimacy of sharing that knowledge with students and watching them grow and watching them blossom is so deeply rewarding. And then every student goes out into their community and touches the lives of the people there. And it's still my hope that together we'll be able to transform the consciousness of society.
Yeah, absolutely. We can relate to that understanding, and just on a much smaller scale after we left California, taking our little bit of knowledge back to our own nutrition practices and feeling that same thing of this isn't enough. We're not reaching enough people. And on a smaller scale, a different way, we wanted to reach more people just by selling jars of ghee and talking about Ayurveda. So it's we can relate to what you're saying. And and what you said too, kind of, it brings up this thought of like, really, what is your hope for your students when they leave CCA? Is your intention and your hope that everyone becomes a practitioner, or do you just hope that they go out and share?
Every student has a dharma, and dharma is that which flows through you from above down. It's the divine working through you and using you as an instrument. My hope for every student is that they figure out what their dharma is, that they live their dharma, that they live in alignment with the divine flow of what we call in Ayurveda and yoga Shakti. That Shakti, that is creative energy that moves through you. Each person gets to be that vehicle for Shakti. And then what's going to come from that? Well, for you, it's FarmTrue, and that's beautiful. That's the creative energy of the universe working through you, and you fulfilling your dharma and contributing to transforming the consciousness of society. For others, it's going to be practice. And so I think for most of the people who go to school, it is going to be practice. Some are going to be Ayurvedic health counselors and work in preventative medicine. Some are going to be clinical Ayurvedic specialists, and they're going to work with clinical care. Some are going to go all the way through to becoming Ayurvedic doctors. And their dharma is going to be that bridge between the Western medical model and the Ayurvedic medical model, and to be able to use Ayurveda at the highest level of understanding and the highest level of education. And for them, that's their dharma. For others, it's going to be the dharma of opening up a Panchakarma center. And there's really infinite ways in which the knowledge of Ayurveda can flow through you. For me, it's always exciting to see how it is revealed both to you and also to me observing you. And that's the most beautiful thing that can happen.
Yeah, it is. So what does CCA have on its horizon? What are your focuses for 2022 and beyond?
Well, CCA continues to grow and also continues to refine everything that we do. We've had the Ayurvedic Doctor program now in place for the last 6 years, and that's been very exciting to watch that grow. And we're also improving our campus. We have a beautiful campus here in Nevada City, California, and we have herbal gardens here at the campus. And one of the new projects that we're working on is being able to enhance the herbal gardens. We grow about 100 different species of herbs in our garden. It was actually a collaborative project several years ago that formed between us and Organic India. And we put together this beautiful garden here at the college. And now what we're doing is we're taking it to the next level. And we're adding these beautiful, highly professional signs that you see at the finest botanical gardens. And these signs are going to label every plant that's in our garden according to their genus and species, but also their doshic effects, where they're from in the world. And then each one comes with a QR code, and you're going to be able to use your phone. And when you hold your phone up next to it, it's going to pull up all of the information about that herb that you could possibly want to know, from how to grow it to how it can be used medicinally. So we get to upload all that information into the website, and in that way, make sure that we can educate our community. Our herbal gardens are more than just a place of learning for the herbal apprentices that are here. It's also a community asset. And people from the community can come in and they can sit in the gardens and they can meditate in the gardens. They can smell the gardens and they can enjoy its beauty. So I think that's one of the really exciting things that's on the horizon. It'll be in full bloom next spring. And we're just setting it up now.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I know. We need to go back.
We need to come back and visit one of the Ayurvedic body treatments that we have.
I'll bet since the last time that you were here, you probably never even got to see our outdoor amphitheater, which is really, really wonderful. We built an outdoor amphitheater, and we're able to have our classes outside as well as inside. And during COVID, that has been so very important.
Yeah.
And we have large events out there as well. We can have music, we can have graduation ceremonies. It seats a little over 100 people.
Oh,
And
that's nice.
it's a really, really lovely sacred space that we've been able to create, in addition to the other elements of the campus, such as the Panchakarma Center. We have our meditation garden with the Panchakarma Center. So we're always excited about improving the aesthetics of the environment that our students are in.
Yeah, and continue to make it so accessible, which is what Lynn mentioned earlier. And so many ways, and not only how the teachings are presented, but like just even your space, making everything accessible in this herbal garden. That's brilliant, connecting back to the source, and it's beautiful. Well, it sounds wonderful. We need to get back.
I know. It makes me want to go back,
especially because it's winter and not so great here. But but I really appreciate this time together and sharing each other's stories and just talking to you. Business can be hard at times, and you get lost in that, and hearing just your voice again and bringing us back to some roots. It's just it's something we both needed.
Yeah, it reminds us of why we started. Right?
Yeah, because it can get hard. I'm sure you have those moments. It's business too sometimes, and it can be challenging to keep it all in balance. And we just thank you for everything you've done and continue to do, and how you're sharing and educating people.
Well, I want to share with you, because I know that you are trying to balance this realm of business and service, and I think a lot of people try to find that right balance. I don't know that I have the one answer for everybody, but I can share with you that for me, I was a terrible business person when I started the California College of Ayurveda. I just really had very little idea what I was getting myself into to try to start a college, to try to build a profession. I didn't have any real significant business background. I had been practicing as a chiropractor before that, doing a variety of different healing work, but I didn't really have a deep business background. Certainly didn't have any background in finance or accounting or anything that you would think of with business. And I took the steps I took, not because I was motivated by trying to become successful, but because I was motivated by service. Because I saw that there was something that I was meant to do, and my job was to surrender and to do it. That this was the divine working through me. It wasn't me actually doing any of it. My job was to get out of the way. And as long as I could get out of the way and be an instrument, I trusted, I had faith that we would be successful. And that meant that I would learn, and we as a college would learn what we needed to learn along the way, that it wouldn't come necessarily without any bumps in the road, because there were some extraordinary bumps in the road. And I suppose if I were, a great business person, I would have been able to anticipate that. I would have been able to plan for all of those bumps. They never would have showed up. No, that never really happened. They all showed up. And that was all part of the journey. And it's really, for me, it was about getting out of the way. It was about surrendering and knowing that this was the service that I was meant to perform. This was the gift that I could bring to the world, and just letting it be that, and trusting that if I just do that, I'll always be taken care of. And I believe that if you fulfill your dharma, the divine will always take care of you. You will be fine. Trust that. It's true.
That's what we needed to hear.
We needed to hear that, say. I'm sure a lot of other people need to hear that. So no matter what, we can't cut that out of this interview. That was wonderful.
That was the best advice.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing that.
Well, many blessings to you both as you continue your journey, and as you continue serving society through your products, through your educational work as well, because you are educating your communities and taking care of your communities. And That's a beautiful thing. So my heart is with both of you. My blessings are with both of you. And I want to see you and your companies thrive.
Thank you, Dr. Halpern.
You're welcome. Namaste.
Namaste.